and very difficult to most Filipino families. Primarily, a lot of broken families and infidelities happen when people are abroad and families are left in the Philippines. We know that long-distance relationships between spouses and children often happen. And because of homesickness and loneliness, married people often break marriage vows. I would like to ask, and how do we help these people and make sure that their families are intact even if they are far away from each other?
Thank you, Honorable Kong Richard. Mr. Speaker, my colleagues, ang ating mga kapatid na Muslim at mga kababayang nasa Middle East na nanonood po ngayon sa ating live stream. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Ang pagpapala po at biyaya ng mahal na Allah ay sumaating lahat. Ako po ay kaisa ninyo, lalo't ako po ay nagawaran bilang Princess Marisa ng Sultanato ng Katagalugan, Sultanate of Maharlika, Darussalam. Mr. Speaker and my dear colleagues, I enjoin you to watch me a poignant scene in our everyday drama series. Do you see mothers and fathers with their baggage in tow, inching their way to the airport gates while trying to be oblivious to the faint cries of their spouses and young children begging not to be left behind? Their faces barely able to hide the sadness building up in their already heavy hearts. They give each other long embraces and long goodbyes with tears in their eyes, knowing that the next hugs will only be upon the return, which will be few and far behind. Finally, before turning their back, the passionate reminder to love and take care of each other, and the image slowly fades. Mr. Speaker, it may be dismissed as a sappy scene by some, but this is a classic illustration of what happens when one or both parents or loved ones are employed overseas. It is the sad reality of some, if not most of the families of our overseas Filipino workers. In a country where unemployment is chronic, like our overseas employment, is popularly viewed as a way out of lingering poverty and for good reasons. Sila po ay nahuhulog sa bigtag ng human trafficking, isa sa malaking problemang kinakaharap ng ating bansa, lalo na po ng ating mga kababaihan. Again, our dear President has observed, ngayon, para naman sa mga anak na naiwan sa Pilipinas, titiyakin ng Department of Migrant Workers sa pamamagitan ng OWA na sila ay maipapasok sa magagandang paaralang magtuturo sa kanila ng financial literacy, mental wellness, sports, sining at kultura. Ito ay mangyayari sa pakikipagtulungan ng iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan. Alagaan natin ang kabataang Pilipino pagkat sila ang kinabukasan ng ating inang bayan. It is very hard to say. There is no exact rule that our families that are going abroad, a mother or a father or a parent going abroad, how they will be staying together as a family, because there are a lot of factors. Number one, the different characteristics and traits of each mother, parent, or brother or sister, or as a couple. And there is also the factor of augmentation of financial capacity, their loneliness, their virility, their temptations. And this is mostly coming from peers that they are always together. They are together in their work. And most often, it is because of loneliness. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Marisa from OFW Party List. As a former mayor, I've encountered problems of OFWs coming back to their families. And in some instances, a lot of them come home without money being saved. simply because of overspending, gambling, or infidelity. What measures do you have in mind, Mr. Speaker, that you can bring up to this House?
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleague, Kong Richard, definitely most of our OFWs are coming home penniless. Why?
Yes.
They do not know how to save. They should be having a financial literacy, and that is one of the factors that we want to be having in our OFW centers. They should be having a saving tips. They should not be giving more money, remittances to their families, and just buying gadgets, cell phones, shoes, dresses, when the money should be saved for future, for their education, for maybe for their housing needs in the future, and the food they will have to put in their table. Most importantly, they are penniless because they are using, I'm sorry, mga mahal nating OFWs, but you are using a lot of your credit cards sa mga bagay po na hindi naman po karapat-dapat at hindi po importante. It has to be a need, not a want. Ang dami pong mga kababayan natin na nagiging biktima, na dedemanda at nakukulong po dahil po sa mga paggamit nila ng kanila pong mga credit cards. Please, let us know how to use our cards. Ang ating pong mga kababayan nagiging penniless dahil po ang perang ipinadadala dito para sa kanilang mga pamilya na dapat po i-save para sa mga bahay nila na gustong hulugan ay napupunta po sa wala. Dahil ito po ay napupunta sa sugal. Ang iba po ay sa illegal drugs. Pabayaan po natin ang mga kababayan natin, ang ating mga OFWs is sweating it hard, sweat, blood, and tears to earn the money for their loved ones here in the Philippines. Let us also love the money that they are remitting to be able to give them time to grow and to be able to return back home with the money, with the livelihood that they all deserve. This is the very reason why they are going abroad, Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague.
Mr. Speaker, I also understand that contract switching is still prevalent to our OFWs. Does it still happen up to now?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague, it is definitely happening. Ang contract switching po is prevalent sa ating mga overseas workers going abroad. They signed a contract here in the Philippines for a certain amount of salary, and even before their land in their host countries, they are about already to sign another contract for a lower salary. And that is the very reason I am not happy about it, but we were able to close 3 recruitment agencies for this kind of switching of contracts.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, my follow-up is there a lack of enforcement coming from our government agencies, and what can we do with these problems?
Mr. Speaker, my fellow colleague, as of now, the government is having our crackdown on illegal recruiters, and the POEA is on top of that. But now that the Department of Migrant Workers with Secretary Toots Ople is very much focused, I would like to say that we will be tracking more of our illegal recruiters, and of course, we will be one with them to be able to step down and focus on all these advocacies of tracing our illegal recruiters.
I also understand, Mr. Speaker, that most of our OFWs are unable to get help from our consular and embassy offices. Is this still true?